5 best breathing techniques to calm speaking jitters. Breathing is a critical function in life, but it's not something that we really invest a whole lot of thought to it. When you breathe in, your blood cells receive oxygen and release carbon dioxide. Then, the carbon dioxide is carried through the body and exhaled. Unfortunately, when we feel nervous, as many people do when they're asked to speak in public, it can result in improper breathing. This can cause upset in the oxygen and carbon dioxide exchange, which can cause additional anxiety, panic attacks, and so much more. In this tutorial, I'll explain the 5 best breathing techniques to help you calm speaking jitters next time they come around. Alternate nostril breathing. This breathing technique involves alternately blocking off one nostril and breathing through the other. In order to maintain your posture, it's best to practice this technique while sitting. Start by taking your right hand and bending your pointer and middle fingers into your palm, and keeping your thumb, ring, and pinky fingers straight. Close your eyes. Inhale and then slowly exhale to start. Using your thumb, close off your right nostril and take a breath in. Using your ring finger, close off your left nostril and take a breath in. Take turns closing off one nostril and then the other. Try to do 10 rounds of this, and if you start to feel faint, take a break. Belly breathing. According to the experts, practicing 20 to 30 minutes of belly breathing every day will help you to decrease your anxiety and stress. Simply find a place that is comfortable and quiet, such as sitting cross-legged, sitting in a chair, or lying on your back on the floor with a pillow under your head and knees. Place a hand on your chest and the other one on your belly under your rib cage. Without clenching or squeezing your muscles, allow your belly to relax. Take a slow breath in through your nose. The air should move into your nose and down into your belly. Through pursed lips, let the breath out slowly. Pay attention to the hand on your chest. It should be pretty still. Though your health will determine the sequence frequency, most people can do this exercise at least 3 times and then work up to 5 to 10 minutes, up to 4 times a day. Box breathing. This breathing technique is also known as 4-square breathing and is easy to learn and practice. If you have ever found yourself inhaling and exhaling to the beat of a song, then you've already familiarized yourself with this. Count to 4 as you breathe in. Count to 4 as you hold your breath. Count to 4 as you exhale. Count to 4 as you hold your lungs empty. 4-7-8 breathing. This breathing technique is known as the relaxing breath and acts as a natural tranquilizer on your nervous system. While you learn the technique, it's best to sit up with your back straight. Once you have become more familiar with it, you can lie down in bed and do it. Place the tip of your tongue on the roof of your mouth, just behind your upper front teeth. This is where it should remain for the duration of the exercise. Exhale through your mouth. Close your mouth and exhale through your nose to the count of 4. Hold the breath as you count to 7. Exhale through your mouth as you count to 8. Mindful breathing. This technique is also known as mindfulness meditation and involves centering your attention in the present moment instead of wandering to the past or the future. Choose something calming to focus on. This can be a sound, positive word or phrase, or anything else that calms you. Then, let go and allow yourself to relax. If your mind starts to drift, take a breath and bring your attention back to the present. Conclusion. According to statistics, 75% of adults are fearful when it comes to public speaking. If you're one of those who gets nervous, try these 5 best breathing techniques to calm your speaking jitters. Five secrets for sounding confident. If thinking about standing in front of an audience for a presentation causes you to feel butterflies or break out into a cold sweat, you should know that you're not alone. It's believed that around 75% of adults are affected by a fear of public speaking. But rethinking the way you think about stress can have a positive impact on your physical and mental performance. While it's true that it's easier to surrender to your fears, you'll be better off if you learn to face them. For some, it only requires a little bit of effort to get past their fears, but others require more effort and may even need some tips and tools to get through the process. In this presentation, I will provide you with the 5 secrets for ensuring you sound confident during your next presentation. Use humor. Typically, a joke to start things off will get the presentation moving in the right direction because it will help you relax and lighten the mood of the room. Laughter somehow creates a bond, particularly if you're able to get the audience to join you in laughing at yourself. Laughing at yourself is a way to humble yourself, and when others join you, it creates trust. Plus, laughter shows your audience that you're really not all that different from them. Focus on those that are nodding. If you feel like you're not connecting with your audience, it can be quite worrisome. And if there are members in the audience that seem disinterested, it can be even worse. Usually, though, you'll be able to look out and see those who are nodding, which can be incredibly reassuring. When you focus on these people, it can help you feel more confident. Be expressive. Many times, no matter what you do to calm yourself, it doesn't work. However, you can work to hide your nervousness by expressing your emotions. If you're talking about something you were excited about, play up that excitement. On the other hand, if there was something that was incredibly disappointing, play up that disappointment. You may find that it's easier to hide your nervousness by using other emotions than it is to suppress it. Practice makes perfect. Many people assume that public speaking is one of those skills that you either have or you don't. Others believe that it's something that can be built up through practice. Go around to some of the civic clubs in your local area and offer to speak for free. Set up a video camera in the back to record yourself. Then afterwards, review the recording and see what you can do to improve in the future. The more you speak, the better you'll get, which means your confidence will begin to improve. Be prepared for mistakes. Even the professionals who have been speaking for many years make mistakes from time to time. These mistakes are nothing to be embarrassed about. In fact, they make you more relatable. Mistakes make people see that you're not that different from them. If you are uncomfortable with your mistakes, the audience will be uncomfortable as well. However, if you learn to use those mistakes to laugh at yourself, as mentioned in tip number 1 above, it can help everyone be more at ease. Therefore, go ahead and prepare a comment ahead of time to help get past those mistakes. Conclusion. If you tend to get nervous when preparing a presentation, you're not alone. In fact, it's believed that 3 out of 4 adults feel this way. However, you really don't have to be. There are some things you can do to help yourself sound more confident when speaking in front of others. Confident public speaking is a skill that can be developed. Just keep these 5 tips in mind next time you have the chance to get in front of an audience. Five tips for settling nerves before the big pitch. When you're preparing a sales pitch or presentation, it's typical to feel a bit nervous. In fact, 75% of adults, that's 3 out of 4, have reported struggling with glossophobia, which is a fear of public speaking. Therefore, you shouldn't feel that you're alone in your struggles. But if it's more than just butterflies, you need to add some new techniques to your arsenal to help you prepare yourself. In this presentation, we'll provide you with 5 tips to help settle your nerves before the big pitch. Know the material. In many cases, people get nervous about pitches and presentations because they don't feel like they're prepared enough. You've probably heard practice makes perfect, and this is definitely true when it comes to presentations. The more you practice, the less you'll worry about not being prepared, and the more confident you'll seem. Of course, knowing the material is more than just knowing what is on the next slide. It also means that you understand what you're presenting. Many people don't understand how what they're selling works. However, in order to sell your product or service, you need to understand the problem it solves. This brings us to the next step. Research the audience. In the first tip, we focused on being prepared by knowing the material you're presenting to the audience. However, preparation also involves knowing your audience and adapting the material to fit them. This is one reason why you shouldn't have a script, because you may miss a few necessary points, but you must be prepared to answer questions that may be asked. When you know who will be in the audience, you can learn to anticipate the questions and prepare your answers. Consider reaching out ahead of time to find out more about your audiences so you can be ready. Have a map, not a plan. When preparing a presentation or pitch, many people try to create a plan. However, this isn't always the most ideal way to do it. Instead, consider your pitch or presentation as a map around your product or service. Sure, have a script ready, but ultimately allow the audience to lead by the questions and interests they express. Of course, this goes back to the first 2 points, knowing your audience and your material. This will help you deliver a more personalized pitch or presentation and avoid a panic attack in the process. Check the tech. Keep in mind that different venues will have different tech. You may be using someone else's computer or having to interface your own with someone else's monitor, smart TV, or projector. Then again, you may be screen sharing with your audience members various devices. Each situation has advantages and disadvantages, and if you're not prepared, can throw you off your game. Therefore, find out the capability of the available tech ahead of time, and when possible, use your own. If you're required to use the in-house tech, ask for time to familiarize yourself with it before the presentation so you're not stumbling through it blindly. Center yourself. For some, a visit to the gym helps to calm their nerves. Others prefer an approach that is less physical and sweaty, such as meditation. Then again, there are others who fall somewhere in the middle. They're not gym bunnies, but they're not interested in full-on meditation either. This is where mindfulness exercises come in, and one of the most common ones is the 5-4-3-2-1 technique. In this technique, you simply focus on 5 things you can see, 4 things you can hear, 3 things you can feel, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. This should be enough to help you be present in the moment and bring your anxiety down a few notches. Final thoughts. The truth is, it's perfectly normal to experience nervousness before your big pitch or presentation. However, if you find that your nerves are getting out of hand, try these 5 tips to help settle your nerves beforehand. While you may never fully get over your anxiety surrounding public speaking, you can make things easier for yourself. 5 vocal exercises public speakers swear by. If you're like most people, you probably believe that vocal warm-up exercises are only important for singers. However, this assumption is completely wrong. Every professional, no matter what industry, should be using vocal warm-up exercises. These can help you sound professional in meetings, when giving presentations, to level up your speeches. Therefore, if you're responsible for giving presentations or speeches, then you definitely need a few basic vocal warm-up exercises. Typically, you're prepared for your first few lines of a presentation, but you don't always think about how those lines are delivered. In this presentation, we will provide you with 5 vocal warm-up exercises that public speakers swear by. Loosen up and shush. The very first thing you must do before a presentation is to loosen up. Start by wiggling your shoulders and relaxing your neck and jaw. Then, take a few deep breaths. This will help you shake out the nerves and create additional space within your body. This exercise will keep you from sounding anxious and tight. Now, take in a few belly breaths, keeping your shoulders down. The key to good vocal breathing is belly breaths. Here's how. Place your hands on your belly and push your stomach into your hands. Then push the air out of your stomach to the front of your mouth. Pretend you're a teacher trying to get your class to settle down. Let out one big shh. keeping your shoulders down. Do this several times. This step should only take about a minute. Tongue trills. This exercise is a fun one for warming up your tongue. When your tongue is nice and loose, it makes it easier to get your words out when you're presenting. If you're not sure what a tongue trill is, it's when you roll your tongue in your mouth as quickly as possible. After doing a few with an even tone, try doing some with ascending and descending tones, about 5 each. Humming. One of the best ways to warm up your mouth and vocal cords is humming. This is because the vibrations created by humming loosen your vocal cords. If you're doing a morning presentation, humming is critical. Here are the basics. Start with a long and hold it as long as you can. Loosen your mouth, lips, and hum without your lips pressed together. Your jaw and cheeks should be loose as well. Now, hum ascending and descending tones. This should be done 5 times each. Chanting. Does the term chant make you a bit nervous? While it might feel a bit odd, it's actually the most important step to a good vocal warm-up. You're going to repeat the same 4 words over and over. Meme, mime, mome, moom. Since these words all start with the M sound, this exercise goes great right after the humming one. Therefore, as you finish up with humming, naturally transition into this one. Once again, start with an even tone and then try ascending and descending tones. Once you feel warmed up, try fluctuating tones within each word. This should be done for as long as you need to get warmed up. You'll know that you are once the sound is long and clear. When you're starting out, the sounds may be raspy or rough, but by the end, this should be cleared up. Pronunciation. The very last exercise in the vocal warm-ups is to prepare to enunciate your words or sounds. You will now be adding the P and T sounds to the M sound you practiced previously. You'll add the following sounds to your chant: ma, pa, ta. You will vary the length of your tones, practicing both long and short. You'll also be fluctuating your tone, descending and ascending. Then you'll try to really enunciate the sounds, opening wide for the A sounds, which should be done 5 to 10 times. Conclusion. These exercises should only take you about 5 minutes to complete. If you're short on time, you can step into the bathroom before your presentation and do a quick version. If you have a commute to get to where you're going to do your presentation, you can do a longer version in the car. That's the beauty of these 5 vocal exercises. You can adapt them to what you need. Five ways to recover after bungling your words. If you suffer from glossophobia like 75% of the population, it's not hard to imagine yourself messing up during a presentation, blowing a job interview, or watching your project that you worked hard on blowing up on you. However, there are 5 ways that you can recover after bungling your words. In this presentation, I'll outline all 5. What if you mess up? For most of us, anticipating failure can cause our pulse to quicken and make us get sick to our stomach. It can cause us to get stressed, anxious, and angry, and make us feel shame and regret. Ultimately, it can cause us to give up on pursuing the lives we want. Consider this. Some people want a career boost more than anything. They want to be challenged. They want that big promotion. Some even want to start their own business, but they're afraid of failure. So they hold back and don't work on the things they need to in order to succeed. Either they don't give 100% effort, or they're so afraid they don't even bother trying at all. Many times when we're embarrassed over our failures, we focus on the details and may even beat ourselves up over the results. However, this is a bad thing because it keeps us from healing and moving on. Instead, we should be reframing our concept of failure. After all, It's from trying and failing that many great things have come about. For example, Alexander Graham Bell tried several times before he was able to successfully invent the telephone. Ferdinand Zeppelin tried several times before he achieved flight. Instead of getting upset, use your failures as a learning opportunity by following these 5 steps. Don't judge yourself. Instruct your inner critic to sit down and be quiet. After all, it happened and there's nothing you can do to change it. We don't have a time machine or a memory eraser where we can make it all go away. Learn to forgive yourself and others when you bungle your words instead of allowing shame and resentment to take hold. Direct your focus now to the present moment and also look forward to the future. Take it as a chance to learn and improve. Consider why it happened. Take some time to consider some potential unbiased reasons why it happened. This will help you create your future approaches. If possible, figure out what caused you to bungle your words. If you're not sure, ask someone what they believe may have caused it to happen. You can use that feedback to get a better handle on your presentations in the future. Be comfortable with being uncomfortable. This may sound crazy, but when you're afraid of failure, you may freeze up. However, the truth is that change doesn't typically happen within the confines of our own comfort zone. So instead of avoiding public speaking in the future, take another public speaking engagement. Keep trying. Prepare yourself better in the future. Keep in mind you have a lot of options when it comes to what you can do. Just don't sit and allow yourself to be paralyzed. It was one mistake. It's something we all do at one point or another. Slow and steady wins the race. As much as you may wish it to be so, not everyone in the world wakes up a perfect public speaker. We all make mistakes and bungle our words. You're going to have some ups and downs along your way as you develop your skills as a public speaker. Embrace and learn from both extremes. Acknowledge progress. If you're guilty of all or nothing thoughts, do whatever you can to ditch those. Instead of saying, "I'm a failure," say, "I'm not successful yet." Think about it. If you were running a marathon, would you be upset with yourself over the miles you haven't covered? Of course not. You acknowledge that you've come far, but there's more to go, and you just keep going. Before you know it, you'll be crossing that finish line. Final words. If you are giving a speech or presentation and you bungle your words, so what? It's likely to happen to the best of us. Not many people are 100% successful on their first attempt. And if they are, they've done a lot to prepare themselves. Or maybe they're lying. Next time you bungle your words and feel like a failure, keep these 5 tips in mind to help you recover. How to demand the room as an introvert. According to the experts, 3 out of 4 people get nervous when it comes to standing in front of an audience and speaking. However, for introverts, it can be more than nervousness. It can be sheer terror. This is most likely due to the assumption that introverts don't make good public speakers. That's something that should be left for those who are confident, outgoing, great at small talk, and don't have an issue connecting with others. However, the truth is, there are some ways that you can demand the room as an introvert. In this presentation, I'll show you how. Write it out. One of the traits that introverts have is the ability to come up with the perfect response, but typically it's long after the situation warrants it. We always know what we should have said. It's a gift to be a deep thinker, and a presentation is a great way to use that power. Perhaps you believe that public speakers are a special breed. They can just step on stage and start speaking. However, the truth is that nearly all speakers have at least an outline for their presentation. If you've got something to say, write it out. Then read it and make edits. Refine it until it's perfect. It's rare that you'll be able to say exactly what you want at the right time. Practice in small settings. Instead of jumping right into doing presentations in front of a live audience, try doing live or recorded videos on social media. You may want to start with recordings and uploading them so people can watch and comment. Then, once you build an audience and start feeling more comfortable, try doing some live videos. This will enable your audience to provide you with instant feedback. Then, you can work your way up to hosting a webinar presentation, podcast, or other small internet forum. Once you start feeling more comfortable there, reach out to some local civic clubs or organizations in your area who would benefit from your expertise and offer to speak at their meetings or events. You'll find that with some effort, you'll be able to demand attention in any room. Be your authentic self. Once you do start speaking, your focus should be on delivering the message and impacting your audience. Anything else, including trying to be someone or something you're not, is a distraction. Chances are, when you start presenting, people are going to show up for the information you're providing. Those who stick around and come back again are the ones that have formed a connection with you. Your mission should be stronger than your fears. While you may believe that the audience is there to hear you speak or judge you for your flaws, this is typically not the case. They are there to learn something. They want to be inspired to take action. If this is your goal as well, then it's probably because you're presenting something that you believe is important. Conclusion. As an introvert, being asked to do a presentation can be a scary thought. However, it really doesn't have to be. There are things you can do as an introvert to demand a room and provide people with the information you want them to have. In closing, keep this in mind so that you can give presentations as an introvert. Additionally, stop your insecurities and redirect that energy into passion. That is, be excited about the information you're providing and the people who are being impacted by what you're saying. Overcoming imposter syndrome. Have you ever felt like no matter what you've done or how successful you are, you don't really deserve your accomplishments? This feeling is known as imposter syndrome and leaves us feeling like we have not earned the successes we've achieved or our thoughts don't deserve attention. This can keep people from sharing their ideas, applying for college, or even pursuing certain careers. In this presentation, we'll explain 10 steps to overcoming imposter syndrome. Don't be ashamed to speak up. Unfortunately, many people are ashamed and don't want to talk about how they feel like a fraud. When you know there's a name for your feelings and you're not alone, it can make you feel so much better. Separate facts and feelings. There are times that you're going to feel dumb. Everyone does. However, just because you feel this way doesn't mean that you are. Understand your self-doubt. When you feel like you belong, you're more likely to be confident. However, if you feel like you don't belong in the situation you found yourself in, perhaps you're older or younger, you're the only woman or the only man in the room, you're a different color than the rest of the room, or maybe you have a disability. It's only natural. You feel pressure to represent your entire group. Instead of believing that your self-doubt proves that you are inept or not qualified, accept that perhaps it's because you're responding to being on the receiving end of social stereotypes surrounding intelligence and competence. Maintain your positive attitude. The thing about being a perfectionist is that you care about the quality of your work. The key is to always strive for excellence when it matters. However, don't stress too much over the routine things and always be willing to forgive yourself when you make a mistake. Don't stress over failure and mistakes. When you do make a mistake, don't beat yourself up over it. Learn from the experience and use that knowledge in the future to avoid the same mistakes. Remind yourself that it's okay to miss the mark sometimes. Change your rules. If you have rules for yourself that state you should always have the answer to a question or you should never ask for help, change those. Remember that it's perfectly fine if you don't have an answer sometimes, and it's okay to reach out for help when you feel like you're lost in a situation. Everyone has an off day sometimes. Create a new script. Develop an awareness of the dialogue in your head when your imposter feelings are triggered. This is your internal dialogue. When you hear yourself thinking, Wait until they find out I don't know what I'm doing. Reframe it and remind yourself that everyone who is just starting sometimes feels a little off in the beginning. You may not have all the answers right now, but you do have the ability and the resources to look them up. Imagine your success. Before you go into a situation, take some time imagining yourself giving a successful presentation or asking a question in class. This is so much better than scaring yourself with imagining the worst-case scenario like many people do. Try rewarding yourself. Instead of seeking validation and then dismissing that validation from others, learn to pat yourself on the back once in a while. You'll feel so much better about your accomplishments and successes. Fake it until you make it. From time to time, we will all face situations where we're forced to wing it. Instead of seeing this as proof that you're inept, learn to do what many other successful people have done. Don't sit around and wait until you feel confident. You become more courageous by taking those risks. If you'll change your behaviors, confidence will come. Conclusion. Imposter syndrome is where we don't feel like we deserve the successes that we've achieved. However, this shouldn't happen. Learn to feel comfortable with your success and value yourself. These 10 tips will help you learn to overcome imposter syndrome. The power of speech in and out of the office. Most of us are unaware of this, but your speech in and out of the office really does make a big difference in your reality. Now that you've been made aware of this, it's time to learn how to use it and help you. Our speech can change lives by changing minds and shaping thoughts based on what we say and don't say. In this presentation, we'll discuss the power of speech in and out of the office. After all, everything we say, hear, and even read will have an impact on how our minds see our place in the world and shape our overall reality. The power of speech defined. Speech is important because of the message it brings and how that message is sent. The impact and power of speech is puzzling in how it influences our behavior. The power of speech is so strong that it can have an influence on the way we think about things. When used wisely, speech can interpret the nature of our relationships, summon deep feelings in others, and even motivate people to take action about a particular situation they have found themselves in. Speech is quite powerful and can be either positive or negative. The fact that speech can have an impact on the way people think is what makes learning new vocabulary critical. When we broaden our speech, we broaden our ability to think as well. We can observe this in children whose thoughts develop right along with their speech development. Even adults can benefit from bringing new words into their vocabulary to discover new ideas and ways of thinking. Using the power of speech to turn words into shapes. Psychologists have discovered that our subconscious mind will interpret what we hear quite literally. Therefore, this indicates that the words that we speak create our reality, whether good or bad. Unfortunately, we typically create negative realities for ourselves because we unconsciously undermine our own success. We use negative language to exaggerate our problems, challenge our opinions, and destroy any confidence that we may have had. Your thoughts have a direct influence on how you feel and act. Therefore, if you think you're a failure, then you'll feel like one. When you feel like a failure, you'll end up acting like a failure. This will, in turn, strengthen your belief that you are a failure. On the other hand, if you create a more positive outlook, you can have a much better outcome. This does not mean that positive thoughts are magic, but positive thoughts result in behavior that is productive. This will, in turn, increase your chances of being successful. To increase your self-confidence, you need to make changes to the way you speak to yourself and others. Use positive language. Ditch the labels. Take action. Don't apologize for your opinion. Yours doesn't have to be the same as others. Add some diversity to your language. The power of speech. As you can see, words do matter. They hold a massive amount of power. Speech has the power to boost your confidence and the power to tear you down. Speech can help you make a strong impression or can leave you to be quickly forgotten. Finally, speech can open up a world of new opportunities or shut them down completely. Language has an effect on how others see and relate to you. If you feel that you're being overlooked or underestimated, think about how your language is affecting how others engage with you. Pay attention to successful people and notice how their language is positive, action-focused, and explicit. Speech can build people up and can tear them down, so make sure that you consider what you're saying before you say it. Bottom line. As you can see, speech is central to our overall existence. It can affect us both in and out of the office. It affects our thoughts, our views and beliefs, and the way that we live our lives. Make sure that you are using positive speech so that you don't find yourself being shut out of potential promotions and work and losing friends in your social life. The power of the phone. How your cell phone can help you prepare for any presentation. These days, most of us have pretty high expectations when it comes to our smartphones, and most of the time, they do come through for us. In the past, a presentation would have required much heavier equipment, but today, at the very minimum, we can use our smartphone to enhance our presentations. In some cases, we can even use it instead of a laptop to run the whole thing. In this tutorial, we'll explain how your smartphone can help you prepare for your presentation. Presentation apps. If you've created the presentation on your computer, the first thing is to get the presentation file on your phone and open it. Depending on the operating system of your mobile phone, you can transfer the file via Bluetooth, email, or save it to the cloud so you can download it to your phone. If you have an Android, you may be able to transfer the file via SD card, if your computer has an SD card reader. Getting it to the big display. Once it's on your phone, the challenge then becomes getting it from there to the monitor or projector. Many of the higher-end phones have an HDMI out port that allows you to connect the device to the monitor or projector with an HDMI cord. Many are only compatible with certain file types. Remote control. Even if you're running the presentation from your laptop, you can use your phone as a remote, allowing you to roam around the stage or room instead of being chained to your laptop. Connect the phone to your PC via Bluetooth or Wi-Fi, and then you can control the computer with the phone. Finishing on time. Many times when you're giving a presentation, you're provided with a specific time slot to do so. Therefore, you can use your phone as a timer device to make sure you stay on track and finish within your allotted time. There are apps that you can download, or you can simply use the timer function that's built into the clock app on your phone. Speaker notes to keep you on track. The presenter view feature on some presentation software is great because you can put your speaker notes on the screen while projecting the slide to the monitor or projector. This is a problem, though, when you have to be at a podium where the microphone is and your computer is across the stage or even across the room connected to the display source. In this case, as long as you've loaded your presentation to your phone, as mentioned previously, you can use your phone to display your speaker notes. Adding sound effects to presentations. You may find yourself in some situations where you have sound effects in your presentation. But then when you get to your venue, there are no speakers attached to the visual equipment. If this is the case, you can load the sound files into your phone and then play the sound at the appropriate moment within the slideshow. If you're standing at the podium with the microphone, the sound will be projected into the audience. Voice recorder. Typically, at the end of the presentation, you'll offer the audience a chance to ask you questions about the material. You can use a voice recorder on your phone to record these questions and perhaps include them in your next presentation. Most phones have a voice recorder built in, and if you don't, there are many options available in the app stores on both Android and iPhone. Keep in mind, though, when doing a Q&A session, repeat the question to make sure the recorder picked it up and to clarify since some of the other audience members may not have heard it. Conclusion. In closing, when you're giving a presentation, don't forget that your smartphone has a variety of functions that can help you. From loading and even creating your presentation onto your phone, to use it to keep you on track or load sound effects to enhance your presentation, there are so many ways to use it. Why nobody wants to see you fail. When it comes to giving a presentation, it's pretty normal to be nervous. After all, no one wants to deliver a bad presentation, and no one really wants to listen either. Most people don't want to see you making the mistakes listed in this tutorial. While it's true that there are no universal formulas for giving a presentation, you should avoid the following. Disqualify yourself. Many people will make statements such as, "I'm no expert, but," "I'm not sure what I should say here," "so," "well," "I'm here today to present," "I hope you didn't find this presentation boring." The last one is due to nervousness and a lack of confidence more than the others, but they will all kill your credibility quickly. Unless they're used as a lead-in to what you're saying, the audience will automatically see you as a mediocre presenter. Therefore, to get through a moment where you're not sure what to say, just take a deep breath and give yourself a moment. Not making eye contact. Many times, because they're nervous about it, people will give a presentation and will look anywhere but out in the audience. However, this is bad because you're not able to connect with them. By not making eye contact, your audience feels disconnected. Pick someone in the audience and make eye contact with them. Then choose someone else. Make your way around the room, making eye contact with each person. If you're nervous about making eye contact, just look at their foreheads. At least you'll appear to be making eye contact. Not checking equipment. There's not much that will ruin a presentation faster than spending 20 minutes waiting on the presenter to work through problems with the tech they're using. Make plans to reach the presentation venue at least 1 hour before everyone else is set to arrive to make sure that the equipment you're using is working properly. Additionally, make sure that you hope for the best, but always be prepared for the worst-case scenario as well. Always have a backup plan prepared. While it's true that there have been some major advancements in tech, it's still not perfectly reliable at all times. Not being familiar with content. When you say things like the phrases below, it indicates that you're not very familiar with the content of your presentation. "I kind of know what I'm talking about." "I got the gist of it." "I'll just wing it." If you feel this way, you don't know your content, which means that the audience will see you as disorganized, unprofessional, and sloppy. When you're giving a presentation, you should know the content so well that you could easily teach someone else about it. In addition, you should be prepared to answer questions from your audience members. Alienate audience. Sometimes a speaker will make a comment that they appreciate everyone's attendance, but then comment that the content will not be beneficial to a certain demographic. This is a terrible thing to do. They're most likely there because they believe they will benefit from the presentation you're offering. Let them decide what they feel like would be beneficial. Ramble or ignore time. There are times when a speaker will become so engrossed in their message that they'll go off on a tangent and go over their allotted time. This is very disrespectful for other events or speakers, as well as the audience and their time. Of course, there are times when the audience is also engrossed and wants to hear the end of the story. The best way to avoid going over your time is to set a timer on your phone and have it set to let you know when you've got 5 minutes left, 3 minutes left, and 1 minute left. You can also practice your presentation with a timer and refine where necessary until it fits within the allotted time and also provides the info you need. Final thoughts. In conclusion, most people really don't want to see you fail because they don't really want to sit through a bad presentation. The things listed here are surefire ways to deliver a bad presentation. If you can avoid these, you will be successful with giving a good presentation. Five secrets for sounding confident. If thinking about standing in front of an audience for a presentation causes you to feel butterflies or break out into a cold sweat, you should know that you're not alone. It's believed that around 75% of adults are affected by a fear of public speaking. But rethinking the way you think about stress can have a positive impact on your physical and mental performance. While it's true that it's easier to surrender to your fears, you'll be better off if you learn to face them. For some, it only requires a little bit of effort to get past their fears, but others require more effort and may even need some tips and tools to get through the process. In this presentation, I will provide you with the 5 secrets for ensuring you sound confident during your next presentation. Use humor. Typically, a joke to start things off will get the presentation moving in the right direction because it will help you relax and lighten the mood of the room. Laughter somehow creates a bond, particularly if you're able to get the audience to join you in laughing at yourself. Laughing at yourself is a way to humble yourself, and when others join you, it creates trust. Plus, laughter shows your audience that you're really not all that different from them. Focus on those that are nodding. If you feel like you're not connecting with your audience, it can be quite worrisome. And if there are members in the audience that seem disinterested, it can be even worse. Usually, though, you'll be able to look out and see those who are nodding, which can be incredibly reassuring. When you focus on these people, it can help you feel more confident. Be expressive. Many times, no matter what you do to calm yourself, it doesn't work. However, you can work to hide your nervousness by expressing your emotions. If you're talking about something you were excited about, play up that excitement. On the other hand, if there was something that was incredibly disappointing, play up that disappointment. You may find that it's easier to hide your nervousness by using other emotions than it is to suppress it. Practice makes perfect. Many people assume that public speaking is one of those skills that you either have or you don't. Others believe that it's something that can be built up through practice. Go around to some of the civic clubs in your local area and offer to speak for free. Set up a video camera in the back to record yourself. Then afterwards, review the recording and see what you can do to improve in the future. The more you speak, the better you'll get, which means your confidence will begin to improve. Be prepared for mistakes. Even the professionals who have been speaking for many years make mistakes from time to time. These mistakes are nothing to be embarrassed about. In fact, they make you more relatable. Mistakes make people see that you're not that different from them. If you are uncomfortable with your mistakes, the audience will be uncomfortable as well. However, if you learn to use those mistakes to laugh at yourself, as mentioned in tip number 1 above, it can help everyone be more at ease. Therefore, go ahead and prepare a comment ahead of time to help get past those mistakes. Conclusion. If you tend to get nervous when preparing a presentation, you're not alone. In fact, it's believed that 3 out of 4 adults feel this way. However, you really don't have to be. There are some things you can do to help yourself sound more confident when speaking in front of others. Confident public speaking is a skill that can be developed. Just keep these 5 tips in mind next time you have the chance to get in front of an audience.